What's up, you guys? Alpha892. I got a good one for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about how to systemize your haircuts and make sure you do the exact same process every single time. That way, you'll get consistent results and you can work on your speed, because if you're doing the same thing, you can only get faster at it, right? Anyways, stick around. I'm going to show you guys how I do this low fade on my brother-in-law. It's going to come out real good. And I want you to pay attention to the steps that I use, because I do the same steps for every single haircut. And I guarantee if you follow the same steps, not my steps, well, you can, but if you follow your own steps every single time, you're going to get faster and you're going to get more consistent on your haircuts. Alright, you guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with this baseline. And notice how I dip right over the ear, right in this little area right here. That's where I begin to bring the baseline down. I call it the baseline. It's the very first line, the ball line, whatever you guys want to call it. And I want to make sure I go all the way around with it and do the exact same thing on the other side. And it's real important to look at it from the front, just to make sure it's even. And you guys are gonna see me do it here in a little bit. I'll come around the front, like right there, and make sure it's even on both sides. It comes down right in the same spot, and then straighten up the line, almost like, you know, it doesn't have to be like edge up straight, but you have to make sure it's nice and clean, sharp line, because you're gonna take it out later on anyways. And the next thing I do is I'm gonna create that second guideline, and this is a number one closed. So I bring the number one up, and that same little dip above the ear that I was telling you guys earlier, right there, I'm gonna do the exact same thing on here with the second guideline. This is the number one, and I do the exact same thing every single haircut, no matter if it's a mid fade, if it's a low fade, a high fade, a ball fade. Those lines are going to be the same distance apart the whole haircut. And the reason for that is because it's going to give you a nice consistent gradient on the fade. The fade is going to look nice and consistent. It's going to look the same all the way around. Alright, now I'm just taking off the top. I think I gave him a number 6 on this one. And the reason I do the same thing on every single haircut is because I can't stress enough how important it is to systemize your cuts. So what I mean by systemize is create your own system. Like, make sure you do every single haircut, you do the same steps, you fade it the same way. So that means that every single time that you do a haircut is going to come out the same way. Alright, so now I'm creating my third guideline. This is a number 2 guard, and I'm going up to the parietal ridge on the sides, but I don't know if you can tell, I'm kind of following the same line that the other 2 guidelines were created. So it kind of has that little dip. And like I said, you got to make sure these guidelines are spaced out evenly all the way around the head, or else you're gonna have two different types of fades. One fade's gonna look tighter, one fade's gonna look more spread out, and you want to have the same fade on both sides of the haircut to give it a nice uniform, and the profile is gonna look nice and even. So now I'm taking out I'm putting in the number 2 guard. This is number 2 guard, creating the third guideline, and I open it up a little bit and kind of smooth it out and kind of begin to kind of fade it into the top, which is the number 6. And as you can see, I'm kind of using the number 2 open. This is the number 2 open right now, and I'm using it to kind of blend in that number 2, that very top guideline. Alright, now I'm going back to the number 1. I'm gonna open it up, and I'm gonna go and smooth out that second guideline. If you guys watch any of my other videos, I always talk about how you want to smooth out a line before you blend it out. So that means you want to open up the guard, open up the blade halfway, and kind of smooth out that line like I'm doing right now. And then once you smooth it out, you close it back up and go back down and work on getting that line out. Alright, so I zoomed in right here. I already smoothed it out. So now I close it. This is number 1 closed, and I'm using my corners here to kind of take it in and fade all the small little details that I see. Because once I smooth it out, the rest of the fading is pretty much guesswork. You're just detailing. You're taking the corners of the clippers and getting all these little spots. And trust me, every single one of these little spots is important. You want to make sure you get every single little hair. Like, if you see it and it looks a little off to you, don't let it slide. Like, you have to blend it in every single little spot, every single little detail. If you don't do that, your haircuts are going to look choppy, and people are going to be able to tell. Believe it or not, the little stuff adds up. I've been doing a diet for a little while now, and I eat a little bit of candy here and there, and next thing you know, it all adds up. This is the exact same thing. If you guys don't pay attention to the details, they're gonna add up and the whole haircut's gonna look choppy. Alright, so now I'm erasing the ball line, and you guys see my video on erasing the ball line. First thing I do is I do open blade, go over about halfway, and then you're gonna go back and close it and take off that bottom ball line, and it's gonna come off super easy, man. If you're having problems taking off that ball line, go back and watch my other video on how to remove the ball line, and I explain it, you know, in detail. That's all I do. The whole video is about removing that ball line. So the next thing I'll do right here is I get the 1/16 and I open it up, and like I said, I soften out that second line right there. That's the 0 going into the 1, and so I'm getting the 1/16 right now. It's open, and I smooth it out. You still see the line there, but now you're starting to see why early in the video. All right, now I'll close the 1/16 and take off the bottom line. So open to smooth it out, close it, take the line out, and that's how you take out any line. But okay, so anyways, like I was saying earlier, man, if you guys follow the same direction in every single one of your guidelines and make them uniform, you'll get a uniform fade. So you'll see the fade, the gradient on it looks consistent all the way from where it starts to where it finished. You get a nice, even, smooth fade. If you take the lines out, the fade is going to be nice, even, and smooth all the way around. You're not going to have no darker spots, lighter spots, no I call them like it's more of a choppy fade. Like you're gonna see a little bit of fade here and there, and it's gonna be darker here and there. All right, now I'm using the Babyliss, the outliners. These aren't really sharp enough for edge ups for me. I prefer them more sharper. I use my slim lines or my rim furrow trimmers with the detailer blade on it. But those Babyliss edges are really strong, man, to bald out. And the last thing I do is I use the shaver on there. And the reason I use the shaver last is because the shaver, when you bald it out, I find it a little bit easier to kind of fade into it, and blend the bald line into the rest of the fade. So that's why I do it last. I used to just put the ball line in there and then just try to take it out, but I found that if I put the shaver and just go ahead and try to fade into it, it'll be easier. And then I'll go back with the slim lines just to kind of smooth out that very last shaver going into the fade line, which really isn't there, because like I said, since I do it last, I kind of go ahead and fade it in with the shaver. So this is just detail work with it. All right, now I'm getting to the edge up. Whenever I do edge ups, like I said, this whole video I'm talking about systemizing your cuts. So make sure you develop your process and do it the exact same way every single time. That way you can get faster on it, and you can give out consistent haircuts. These are the rim furrow trimmers I was talking about with the T liner blade. Super sharp, man. But with edge ups, I usually like to start in the middle, do one side, and get it nice and even, nice and straight, and I focus on one side, then turn around and focus on the other side. But I start from the middle and go out. And once the whole edge up is there, I look at it from the front, and then I kind of just trace the whole thing, just to make sure it's a nice even line going all the way around. And he wanted a little bit of the scene, a little bit of points, so I gave him a little bit of points. And sometimes some people don't want that, the points in the bottom, so you can just, like I said, man, you just bring the fade a little bit higher. You'll take the points out, and it's just a little bit of razor work. Notice how I use the back of the razor to do the top corner, and then I use the front of the razor to do the bottom corner. This is very important because it makes it easier, well, especially if you're right-handed. But you make sure you use the corners of that razor to get real detailed. You gotta look at it like hair by hair. Make sure you're getting every little hair. Like I can't stress it enough, you guys. Like, details matter. Like, the more you pay attention to details, the more cleaner your haircuts are gonna come out, and people are gonna notice. It won't be just you. Other people are gonna notice that your haircuts are very detailed. All right, so now I'm doing the razor work on the sideburn, and I'm pretty much done. After this, I look back. I mean, of course I didn't record it, but I did the other side too. But that's the whole haircut right there. and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like with the once I fix the picture up a little bit to post it on Instagram. But you guys seen how I just brought the sideburns down. Make sure you bring them down. Don't leave them real dark, man. That looks kind of ugly if you have like really dark sideburns going into the face. Make sure you lighten them up a little bit, and just going back with the slim lines and cleaning it up. But this is the whole fade right here. And like I said, I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like after the edits, once I edit the picture and post it on Instagram. But this is the raw haircut right here, and then this is, you know, with some of the effects or whatever. There it goes right there. I was lying. There it goes. That's what I posted on Instagram. Of course it was cropped, but that's it. I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe, man.